We're grateful to have you join us. For those joining us in the sanctuary, it's wonderful to have you with us. You are invited to join us in the parish hall for hospitality after the service. For those of us joining online, we send special greetings to you. We hope you take a moment to introduce yourself in the chat box. After service, you are all invited to a virtual coffee hour. Please support our social media outreach. Please like and share our weekly posts on Facebook and Instagram. And remember, all of our services are on YouTube. For those of us joining in person, we gently remind you to silence your mobile devices at this time. And now, let us prepare for this morning's service. Please turn to 656 in your gray hymnal. This is a responsive reading, so you will be reading the part in italics. This is a harvest of gratitude. Once more the fields have ripened to harvest, and the fruitful earth has fulfilled the promise of spring.
The work of those who labor has been rewarded. They have sown and reaped, planted and gathered.
How rich and beautiful is this bounty gathered, the golden grain and clustered corn, the grapes of purple and green.
The crimson apples and yellow pears, and all the colors of orchard and garden, vineyard and field.
Season follows after season, after winter the spring, after summer the harvest-laden autumn.
From bud to blossom, from flower to fruit, from seed to bud again, the beauty of earth unfolds.
From the harvest of the soil, we are given occasion to garner a harvest of the heart and mind.
A harvest of resolve to be careful stewards of all life's gifts and opportunities.
A harvest of reverence for the wondrous power and life at work in things that grow and in the soul.
A harvest of gratitude for every good which we enjoy, and a fellowship world sustained by earth's beauty.
I invite you to join me in Ray in lighting our chalice. You can find the affirmation in our order of service. We light this chalice in search of truth and of spirit of love.
We unite in worship and fellowship.
As an extension of lighting our chalice, I want to take a moment of silence to light these 3 candles for some of the names of those who have been affected by police brutality. We cannot cover all of the names of those affected. We light a candle for the life of Gerardo Almazan. For the life of Shamsuddin Bahar. For the life of Sidney Glasper. May these lights be a symbol of our commitment to continue the work of racial justice and to proclaim Black Lives Matter. In addition, we are lighting a 4th candle to recognize the impact of war on so many innocent people. May we find a way to live in peace.
Please turn to number 51 in your gray hymn, 5-1. Please rise and join in. Carolyn will play it all the way through once. It has a short introduction.
Lady of the season's laughter, in the summer's warmth we clear. When the winter follows after, teach our spirits not to fear. Hold us in your steady mercy, Lady of the turning year. Sister of the evening starlight, in the falling shadows stray, here among us still the hour of the morrow's opening days. Hold us in your steady mercy, Lady of the returning day. Mother of the generations, in whose love all life is worth, everlasting celebrations bring our labors safe to birth. Hold us in your steady mercy, Lady of the turning earth. Goddess of all time's progression, stand with us when we engage, hands and hearts to end oppression, writing history's world page. Hold us in your steady mercy, Lady of the turning age.
We will now pause for meditation. I will offer a prompt to focus our meditation and then sound the singing bowl. At that point, I invite you to begin the meditation with 3 deep breaths. After a few minutes, I will sound the singing bowl again to mark the end of our time. I'm sorry.
Joyce and Tony.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I just skipped that one.
So we got lots of joys this morning. So
Okay, I'm not going to skip it. Now is the time in our service for sharing joys and sorrows. We come together in community to share with one another, to support one another, and to celebrate with one another. We bear sacred witness to each other in this honored ritual. For some of us here today, this has been a week of life-changing joy that needs to be lifted up in this worship. For others, this has been a time of deep pain and sorrow that needs to be shared to make this burden lighter. If this has been such a time for you, I invite you to raise your hand and briefly tell us a joy or sorrow in life that you would like to lift up before the community. For those who are joining online, we invite you to type into the chat your joys and sorrows. Brett will read them aloud. You may also simply take time to reflect and listen, and to honor the joys and sorrows in the silent sanctuaries of your heart. Now is the time. Now, does anybody have any joys and sorrows to share?
Good morning, I'm Sarah Walters, and of course, big joy that a lot of us can share today is how many of us showed up for the No Kings rally yesterday. And also, my granddaughter, Quinn, 11, and my grandson, Jude, 14, marched along with their signs and their flags. because they're the next generation and we got to keep it going. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other joys and sorrows?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Brett. A gentle sorrow, but to a joy. Yesterday, we were unable to attend the No Kings March because we were on our way to DC to go pick up Chelsea and my niece's Trinity and bring her back for a week of hanging out. So you will, though I am sorry to have not timed it out correctly, to have ended up on Victory Boulevard with the rest of you who attended. We are very excited that during coffee hour, there should be a 2-year-old running around who is hopefully not too shy.
Any other joys and sorrows?
Hi, I'm Robin Lockmanda, and yes, the No Kings rally yesterday in Victory Boulevard was very heartwarming for me and for a lot of my friends. And then also going on social media and seeing all the wonderful marches happening all over the country was so affirming. The sorrow is that for some reason I took it into my head to check the pages of the women in my book discussion group, of which there are about 15 members, and I discovered that they're either all apolitical or they're something more or less. And I was kind of shocked by that not a single person in my book discussion group had any consciousness to share about what was going on, good or bad, but just something, some awareness or some. I have to rethink whether I want to stay with her now. What it was about.
Hi, I'm Mike. I just want to add that the demonstrations yesterday were not only around the country, which were tremendous, but they were also around the world. And for Staten Island, this was the largest demonstration that has ever been. In the 37 years I lived here, it was somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 people.
One other tiny joy is I saw a post on Facebook from a guy photographed in Estonia, one ex-patriot standing with his sign outside the local U.S. embassy. He was a one-man, no kings demonstration.
Is there anyone else?
I don't want to embarrass anyone, but I'm happy to see our friend Mike Esposito back. He's a member of the church and he hasn't been here in a while, so good to see you, Mike.
Maria, I care about the protest because my heart is sometimes can be overwhelming, and that's the sometimes how voice we heard. And also we had a wonderful blood party yesterday from 2 to 9 p.m. So knowing your neighbors, love your neighbors, so pleasant. Thank you.
Unfortunately, I was not able to watch yesterday. I watched the news a lot. But my daughter and her husband and 2 nephews in Manhattan, aged 15 and 18 watch. And my daughter and her husband and 3 of my 4 grandchildren in Atlanta also watch. So, and my grandson is in Kentucky. And he's 4. So it was a family affair on this grandma.
Any other joys and sorrows? Anything online, Brett?
All quiet.
So,
I'm Kevin Clark, as many of you know. Now, maybe all of you don't know, though, that our goddaughter is Rachel Morton, Ben Borton was a past minister here. And last Saturday, Rachel got married. And Ben conducted the service, and it took place outside, and reception was in a barn next door. It was out in the grass. It was a lovely ceremony. And Helia was there, as well as our son Chris drove up from Virginia. And the three of them grew up, Helia grew up right across the street. So it was wonderful to see everyone there. The weather held off. There were a few sprinkles, but it just kept it cool and comfortable. And we had a wonderful time.
Any other joys and sorrows? Okay, I have a joy, and it's a small joy, but it's a joy nonetheless. My neighbors are really nice people, a young couple, and they're very friendly. And every year we put up political signs and we go to marches and blah, blah, blah. And they are not interested in any of that. They're not interested in any of that. About a month ago, we put up a Mom Donnie sign in our yard. We're supporting him for mayor. Anyway, about 2 weeks ago, they also put up a homemade Mom Donnie sign. And I was like, okay, so now we can open the conversation, and because I always imagine them to be apolitical, so sometimes the right candidate, breaks through. So I was so happy to see that sign in their yard.
That's not small.
Yeah.
We take a moment to honor the joys and sorrows that remain unexpressed, and for those outside the walls who are searching for a place to bring the wholeness of their lives and receive with love. Now we will pause for meditation. I will offer a prompt to focus our meditation and then sound the singing bowl. At that point, I invite you to begin the meditation with three deep breaths. After a few minutes, I will sound the singing bowl again to mark the end of our time. Today's meditation prompt is from Cicero and is as follows. The mind becomes accustomed to things by the habitual sight of them, and neither wonders nor inquires about the reasons for things it sees all of the time. Now, it's not in your order of service, but we're going to have a reading, and Ray Milstead will present the reading.
Good morning, y'all. Y'all can hear me? Cool. Unitarian Universalists come from so many different paths. We are also unique in how we see the world, and it is one of my favorite things about us. We can have humanists, atheists, agnostics, spiritual, Buddhists, Wiccans, pagans, Christian, Jewish, Unitarians, Unitarian Universalists, scientists, and so many others, all in one space. Not only that, but we ourselves can be a multiplicity of any multiple faiths and traditions, and we can still be whole in this room. Part of what drew me to Unitarian Universalism as a child was that the two sides of my family's traditions could still run wild and free in my theological view of this world. My father's side of the family is Catholic, and my mother's side is Wiccan. I grew up going to Mass with my father and lighting candles with my mother's coven. Today, as the cold hits us and the storm hits the east, as we pass our first supermoon a couple of weeks ago and we get close to our next supermoon in a couple more weeks, I reminisce on the days where my mother would celebrate Mabon and Samhain. We are between Mabon and Samhain today, and I would like to start today's service with a chant I learned from my mother's coven to welcome in the spirit of Mabon. Hoof and horn, all that dies shall return. Corn and grain, all that falls shall rise again.
Now is the time in our service where we take an offering. We know it is the gifts of all of us that help support our ability to thrive in gathering. For those attending in person, we will pass the collection plate. Please use the envelope you will find in the pew. Write your name and indicate if your offering is part of your pledge or donation. For those online, links and instructions will be posted in the chat. You can mail us a check or donate through the PayPal giving page on the website. Please give as generously as you can. Our offerings will be greatly received.
Our mother, we must take care of her. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. Hey, young, hey, young, hey, young. Her sacred ground we walk upon, with every step we take. Her sacred ground we walk upon, with every step we pray. Hey, young, hey, young, the earth is our mother, she will take care of us. The earth is our mother, she will take care of us. Hey, young, the sky is our mother, we will take care of it. The sky is our mother, we will take care of it. Hey, hey,
please turn in your teal hymnal to number 1068, 1068, in your teal hymnal.
My God doth rise in the roots of yon oak. Her sap doth run in my veins. Boundless my soul, like the open sky, where the stars forever gleam. Where the stars, where the stars forever have lain. My hand hold the weavings of time without end. My side as deep as the sea. Beating my heart sounds the measures of old, and the guardians over the sea. That my heart, that my heart, that I love eternity. I feel the tides as they answer the moon, rushing on the far distant sand. Winging my song is the wind of my breast, and my love blows over the land. And my love, and my love, and my love blows over the land. My foot carries days of the old into new. Our gazing shows the way. Wondrous our fame settles deep in the earth, rising green to bring the new day. Rising green, rising green, rising green to bring a new day.
Now I'm very pleased to introduce our speaker today. Ray Milstead is a second-year Masters of Divinity student at Union Theological Seminary. They're hoping to go into ministry once they graduate. Ray graduated from Warren Wilson College in Swannanoa, North Carolina in 2024 with a Bachelors of Science in Biology and is originally from Austin, Texas. Outside of school, Ray loves all things ornithology and bird-related, baking, and spending time with their partner and pets. They use they, them, she pronouns. Now, please welcome Ray Milstead.
Hello again. All right. As part of my second year of being a seminary student, I spend part of each week as a field ed student for the Community Church of New York City. A few weeks ago, our senior minister, Peggy Clark, reminded us during a sermon that joy is needed. This was a moment where I was kind of struck with astonishment. For the past year, and pretty much since last November, I have heard a lot of Unitarian Universalist ministers talk about some really hard topics. Our government, censorship, ongoing genocides, our rights, the fabric of our values, being at the crossroads, of the ever-persistent and never-ending news stories that just seem to be getting worse, building community amidst the increasing use of AI, the financial burden of being an American who isn't in the top 1%, and yet, in the midst of all of this, Reverend Peggy said, hey, do those things that bring you joy. They're important too. So today, I stand here in my Halloween colors and my purple hair that I re-dyed last week because the hair dye didn't stick the first time. And today I'm talking about witchcraft. The Halloween colors and the purple hair are definitely my joy. The witchcraft stories, as many of the Grim Reapers, the Grimm's fairy tales that my mother would tell me as a child, are somewhat a comfort to me that may be seen as a joy, but also somewhat a dark and daunting reminder of what is at stake in this world that we all live in. At the heart of Unitarian Universalism is a commitment to inclusivity and respect for the diverse paths that lead us to understanding the divine and our place in the world. Our tradition draws from a myriad of sources, embracing wisdom from Christianity, Judaism, humanism, and yes, even from pagan traditions and practices. I have learned that this openness is not merely an acknowledgement of different beliefs, it is also a celebration of the rich tapestry of our human experience. Paganism, often characterized by its reverence for nature and the cycles of the earth, echoes many Unitarian Universalist values. It emphasizes personal experience, the interconnectedness of all life, and the importance of living in harmony with the natural world. For many, the practices rooted in pagan traditions and witchcraft provide a sense of empowerment, encouraging individuals to embrace their authenticity and to acknowledge the sacred in everyday life. Historically, the witch hunts of the past have reminded us and myself of the dangers of intolerance and fear. Countless individuals, often women, were persecuted for their practices and beliefs simply because they did not conform to societal norms. We as Unitarians stand firmly against injustices such as that. We create a community where all individuals can express themselves freely and where divine spiritual practices can coexist. When I was young, and considering how deep I'd go into my mother's tradition, or for others who are exploring their spirituality, our Unitarian Universalist community has offered a sanctuary. A sanctuary that said, you are welcome here. With your questions and your emerging identities, our tradition seems to lead with the idea that everyone's spiritual journey is unique and there is no single path to truth. This nurturing environment empowers you to explore and learn and grow in confidence as you engage with what I sometimes call the magical aspects of our identity. In embracing Unitarian Universalist values, we cultivate a strong sense of belonging. We affirm our journey as sacred and important, and we honor the magic that exists within us. The principles of justice and equity and compassion guides us to create a space where all voices are heard and all practices are respected. Until I found myself in a Unitarian Universalist congregation when I was 9, there really wasn't a community that not only appreciated the historical significance of witchcraft and paganism, but also promoted understanding and acceptance outside of my mother's coven. I'm going to be honest in saying that it has been increasingly hard for me to give sermons as a guest preacher lately, for many reasons. One of which being I have public speaking anxiety, but we're working through it. The biggest reason is that as a mid-20-year-old with a bachelor's degree in biology, a background paved by the knowledge of climate change, as well as growing up as a Unitarian Universalist, with a background paved by a devout love and need for justice in our world, I'm scared. I see our country in this ever persistent and never ending doom of injustice being done by those in power. My home state of Texas having members of the National Guard enacting hostile acts on Illinois. Families getting ripped from their homes in Chicago. This address given almost 3 weeks ago to hundreds of US military generals and admirals by someone who has the power to rebrand our Department of Defense to the Department of War. And I have this sense of feeling broken at times. Where are we going with all this? Life is a riddle and a mystery, but what happens when those riddles and mysteries show up as tired, exhausted, and angry congregants who are tired and exhausted from protesting and trying to keep a roof over their heads, dealing with our financial security in the hands of those who have never known an ounce of pain we have felt because they are profiting off that pain. Some of us are just trying to keep our head above water. Some of us are angry because no matter how much we try, the news just keeps coming and it just does not seem to be getting better. I often called my mom Mother Goose because she would call me Grim. These nicknames came from the Grimm's fairy tales, but also because I was kind of a macabre child. I just kind of saw the dark in the world and went with it. My mother would often remind me that this daunting and haunting power that I felt in my bones was both real and a reminder that we all come from a sense of power that can never be taken away because it came from those before us. This power, this magic, this deep feeling of anger at those who knowingly encourage benefiting from capitalism and pain of others is not a light power. For my mother's tradition, it is a heavy and dark power. And when done wrong in intentions, does not go far in the as we hoped it would go. Years ago, when I was a little kid, there was a woman in my mother's coven who would pick my siblings and I up and take us to school so my mom could sleep because she was navigating multiple jobs to keep the food on the table. This woman would bring us scrambled eggs in a cup. She became the woman with the scrambled eggs in a cup. She was one of many who created the village that raised my siblings and I. When I was a teenager, I watched my mother Goose go through a lot of grief, and this same woman stood next to me. I watched my mother Goose shake and falter at the weight of the loss. The world seemed to have shrunk around her. It wasn't just my mother Goose who was shaking and faltering. It was her whole coven who seemed to take it in. I could feel that room shake and falter. This woman set her hand on my shoulder and she reminded me, Ray, broken people are not fragile. In that moment and at those funerals, I had felt really broken. I'd also felt that my mother may have been more broken and beyond repair. So much loss and so much bad news just kept coming. Historically, I have known witch hunts of the past and quite honestly our current moment as a reminder of the dangers of intolerance and fear. I have also known this history as a reminder that broken people are not fragile. I see a lot of grief and pain and anger and a lot of congregations lately, and I know it. How could we not when we know the state of the world we are all living in? So as we stand here between the harvest of Mabon and the veiling of Samhain, let us not shy away from that darkness, the grief, and the rage that simmers within us. Let us acknowledge the brokenness, not as a sign of weakness, but as a testament to our capacity to feel and to care and to be deeply impacted by the world around us. The world needs our joy, as I have learned from Reverend Peggy, but it also needs our anger and our grief. Remember the woman who offered eggs in a cup, the woman who stood strong beside a grieving child. Remember the coven that collectively felt the weight of loss and reminded us of our interconnectedness. These are the stories of our resilience and the threads of hope woven into the fabric of our existence. These are the gifts of witchcraft from my childhood, but also the practical ways people have created community out of thin air so that not only could each person in their coven continue, but their children could too. We are not fragile. We are like trees shedding their leaves, letting go of what no longer serves us, preparing to weather that storm. Mabon reminds us to find gratitude in the slowing down, to gather our strength, to appreciate the bounty that sustains us, even as the days grow shorter. And as we approach Samhain, the veil between the worlds thins, and we connect with those who come before us. We draw strength from their stories and from their resilience, and from their unwavering commitment to justice. Our mothers and grandmothers and ancestors, many of whom were called witches in my own family, faced persecution, fear, and unimaginable hardship. Some of them were healers and midwives and keepers of ancient wisdom, and they understood the power of nature and the rhythms of the earth, the magic that resides within us all, and their spirits live on in us. Let them remind us of the importance of our ancestors, whatever traditions and religions they were, and whatever traditions and religions have led us to community today. They got us here, and we are still here, so we are most definitely not fragile. I know my knees hurt from yesterday in the marching, but I'm still here. We may be prickly, and we may be tired, we may be exhausted, and we may be angry and scared, but we are not fragile. Here in this Unitarian Universalist space, we embrace the fullness of who we are, the light and the shadow, the joy and the sorrow, and the magic and the mundane. We are called to be courageous, to speak truth to power, and to stand in solidarity with those who are marginalized and oppressed. This is really not the time for complacency anymore. It is the time for action and for compassion and for an unwavering hope, such as the over 163,000 people marching in New York yesterday. Let us tap into that deep well of strength that resides within us, the power that our ancestors bestowed upon us, the magic that connects us to the earth and to each other, and let us go forth, not as fragile, broken individuals, but as empowered, resilient beings, ready to create a more just and loving world together. Even if, and especially when, we may feel broken, for the brokenness is not fragility, but of a history. So mote it be.
Thank you, Rick. Please join us in singing hymn number 52 in your gray hymnal.
Sweet fields of autumn, the gold grain is falling, the white clouds drift lonely, and the wild swan is calling. Alas for the daisies, the tall fern and grasses, wind sweep and rainfall fill lowlands and passes. The snows of December shall fill windy hollow, the bleak rain trails after, and March wind shall follow. The deer through the valleys leave tall of their going, and diamonds of sleep mark the bridges of snowing. The stillness of death shall stoop over the water, and flowers sweet blow where the pale streamlets falter. But deep in the earth clod the black seed is living, when spring sounds her bugles for rousing and giving.
I invite you to join me in extinguishing our chalice. You can find the affirmation in the order of service. We extinguish
This flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. For these we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
And our closing words will be presented by Ray.
For closing words, I share the words of Viola Abbott of The Growing Darkness. As we move deeper into the season, there are some things we know. Fall brings a growing darkness that we cannot escape. The nights become cooler and take on winter's chill. The leaves on the trees and the blades of grass try on new suits of yellow, orange, red, and brown. Life around us slowly retreats and goes to sleep. In the rest before renewal, the earth will remain waiting, waiting, waiting for the time that they are returned to us, the warmth and the light.